So I've been playing around with growing mushrooms inside, and I found some mushrooms that I can add to my garden. I'm going to take you guys along for the journey of adding some wine cap mushrooms to my garden. So I've never done this before, so I'm by no means the expert. Done a bit of research. I have a couple of ideas of things I'm going to try out. We're going to do a couple of experiments, hopefully, and we'll see what works best. And then later on, once I've got a better handle on all of this, I'm going to do a video of really kind of doing a how-to of setting up a mushroom bed, but today is not the day, and this is not that video. This is more come along with me and let's see if this works out or not. Got lots of tomatoes growing. I've done a bunch of pruning, and there is some space here, which is where I think we're going to start some of the mushrooms in this bed here. And then if we go further into the garden, which it's August, so it's a bit of a disaster. Taking out some borage that was growing crazy in there, so I think we'll get some of the mushrooms going through here. And then, well, there's another space over here. We'll get some input into these beds. I am going to be trying it in my green stock. I'm going to do that in a separate video as well. Part of trying it in different places in the garden is to see where does it like it best. This one is the sunniest. This one here is kind of middle of the road. And then the first one I showed you over there on the other side of the trellis, that one is the shadiest. That's going to give me some information. I'm also, like I said, going to be doing it in the green stock. I'm going to be using that to test out more the concentrations of what I'm using to grow the mycelium in. It's all about test and learn. You could watch a video of somebody that has done this for years and they give you some advice, but if they've only grown it in one place in their garden or under very specific conditions, that might not work best for you. I'm in Canada. I'm in zone 6, I think it is now. What works for me here may not work for you either. Go ahead, gather all the information you can, but then test it out for yourself. Data in your own garden is going to be the most powerful thing for you. Let's get into the doing. I'm sitting on some garden straw, which I'll show you in a second. I have some wood shavings over there and a bucket, and I also have my mycelium. So I'm specifically growing the wine cap mushrooms. They can grow really well and really quickly on straw, but from what I had seen, that did not last very long in terms of the mushroom bed, because it just uses up what's in the straw too quickly. I do have some garden straw, but then when I was doing the investigation into the wine caps, it said that it likes to grow on hardwoods. One of the ones that was mentioned was aspen, and the other one was poplar. From back when my son had his hedgehog, we used to use the aspen shavings because cedar can give on, pine can give off fumes. It's not good for the little animals. So I ran over to the pet store and got some aspen shavings. Don't know if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Ideally, it would probably be like chunkier than it is in the shavings, but we're going to go with this. The garden straw, I love this stuff. Like love, love, love it. I buy 2 of the big bales every year and I cover all of my beds in it. I might even do 3 bales next year, especially if I'm doing more of the mushrooms. This is the garden straw. This is the really big one. I don't even know how much it is. Also, like, it's a Canadian product, and y'all know I love to keep it Canadian when I can. Oh, there we go. So 20 pounds, 9 kilograms in that. We have good old Home Depot bucket. And this one, I just grabbed this Full Cheeks Aspen. It is 141 liters in there. Okay, so I precariously balanced the camera and hopefully it won't fall over. So the idea is to take some of the garden straw and the aspen shavings, get it into the bucket, get some water from the rain barrel, and then just let it sit and soak so it gets really moist. I'm then going to go in each of the beds and I'm going to dig a hole. When I was doing some research, it had mentioned if you were using more of the wood chips, you could go about 3 to 5 inches deep. If you were doing the straw, they had said to go 10 inches deep. I'm going to do a mix of the two and we'll see how it works out. So I guess we need to get this bucket filled up, and then after that is done, I will go and get some rainwater from my rain barrel. It really is pretty easy. You're just going to take your substrate, get it moist, dig a hole, put it in, and then put your mycelium on and cover it up. I'm trying to do it also now because it rained already, so the soil is going to be a bit wet, and then I think it's supposed to rain again later, and I just want this to get all rained in. So if there's one thing that you guys should get, if you don't have one, it's one of these Hori Hori blades. I use it for everything. It has a serrated edge, it has a straight edge, very sharp, don't cut yourself. It has measurements, and it's kind of got some curvature to it, and you can use it for digging as well. I'm now going to use it to open up the aspen shavings because I was struggling just a little bit. I'm gonna aim to fill the bucket halfway with the aspen, and then we'll switch over to the garden straw. All right, so we got about half full, and then I'm gonna add in some of this garden straw. I can. And this stuff You can see it's just really chopped up and broken down. So we'll get that in there and get it all mixed in. So let's take this and we'll go around and get some rainwater in here. All right. Get that all filled up. Just realized this thing's gonna be super heavy to carry back, so maybe not my best way to do this, but it is what it is. You can see it's soaking up. There was a lot of huffing and puffing carrying that back here. Let's leave that to soak for half an hour. Okay, so it's been more than a hot minute. We had 2 downpours. Now, while I was inside during said downpours and I was doing a bit more research, it did mention that you could soak the straw for like 2 to 3 days, but I need to get these guys in the ground because I've already had them in a fridge for a little bit, and that's important. If you get the mushrooms and you are not going to be growing them straight away, this goes for the wine caps that I'm putting outside, or if you're doing any of those mushroom kits or any kinds of mycelium that you're getting stored in the fridge. You don't want to leave it for more than like a month or so, and the less time the better, but keep it in the fridge and that'll help slow down its growth. Next thing to do is get a couple of trenches dug so I have somewhere to put all of the straw and the wood chips and the mycelium. The mushrooms are going to like somewhere that's a bit cooler, so that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get it where it's going to be underneath stuff in the garden beds. And the first place is going to be down here along at the base of the trellis. We'll just kind of put it in a couple of spots. There have been little song sparrows in here. I was watching them when it was raining, and they've just been digging into my garden. It's very cute to watch. I don't even know if I should be doing a big trench or a little trench. I have no idea. If anyone else has already done this before, feel free to put some helpful comments down in the comments section. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and get this all dug up, and then I'll show you guys what we do next. How excited about the mushrooms are you?
Bloody excited.
Top-notch excited?
Top-notch, over the moon, shoot the moon excited.
Show me a smile for how excited you are about these mushrooms. That's beautiful. All right, so we got one hole there, got another trench there, going around, another trench on that side, a little trench in that bed, and then we have on this side another trench, and then a big one with a nice healthy worm in it on that side. So I'm going to go ahead and fill all these trenches up with the moistened straw and the aspen chips, and then we are going to go get the mycelium and finally get this stuff in the ground and see how it grows. I am so excited. I really, really, really hope this works. I also really hope that I actually like the way these taste, but we won't know until I get to harvest them. And the straws are pretty wet. There's still a lot of water in there. So I'm not even going to try and carry this because it was a pain in the butt. I'm just going to sprinkle this in. Lovely garden manicure there. But they mentioned right on the box to refrigerate or keep it cold until opening. And then when you open it up, we have the sawdust mycelium. Let's get this bad boy out. So it's in a grow bag so it can breathe. And we have the wine caps, gourmet mushrooms. This is from Grow Mushrooms Canada, and bought this with my own monies. This is not sponsored. I like to keep it Canadian when I can. So I'm just going to go ahead and open up this bag and break up this mycelium and get it into all of the green stalks and into the garden. And then you can see it's just on sawdust in there. We're just going to break it up and sprinkle it on top. So definitely one thing you're going to notice when you open it up, and one thing you should notice, is got a nice mushroomy smell to it. It was damp and it was cool in the bag when I reached in there and broke it all up. Over here in the garden, we have it all broken up. So I'm going to go ahead and cover all of these with the aspen wood shavings. And the reason I'm doing that is because from the research that I was doing ahead of time, it said the wood chips, you really want them on top. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to check on these, and we're going to be wanting to see some white threads. That'll be the mycelium colonizing the wood chips and everything, and hopefully that is what we will see. So we're just going to keep covering this and packing it down. Want to make sure that all that mycelium has good contact with all the wood chips and the straw. So I'm just going to pile some more of this on and then just stomp it in a bit. And it's great because these wine cap mushrooms can withstand the Canadian winter, so these should come back every year. So I'm gonna go grab some rainwater, water these in, and then I'm gonna go in and have a sit down. because I'm exhausted. And I see a giant bumblebee on one of my echinaceas. And I have to show you guys. He's just chilling out there. Just make sure to keep this damp over the next few days to let it all get settled in. And if you are looking for a good old seed haul, you can check out this video over here.